What if the loneliness, exhaustion, and emotional detachment many women over 60 feel today is not actually caused by aging at all? What if the real reason senior women stop caring about men has been building quietly for decades, hidden beneath routines, sacrifices, marriages, caregiving, and emotional survival? Most people never see it happening until one moment changes everything, and by then, the shift is permanent. A surprising number of women over 65 report feeling more peaceful living alone than they ever did inside relationships. That sounds shocking to younger generations, but researchers studying aging and emotional health have noticed a pattern repeating across the United States. According to data from the Pew Research Center and American Time Use surveys, older women are statistically more likely than older men to say they enjoy solitude, protect their routines, and avoid emotionally demanding relationships after retirement age. But why? The answer does not begin at 70. It begins much earlier. In early adulthood, many women were taught that love meant sacrifice. Put everyone else first, support the husband, raise the children, stay patient, stay available, stay needed. For decades, millions of American women built their identity around caregiving. At first, it felt meaningful. It created purpose, stability, family. But hidden underneath that role was something dangerous. Over time, many women stopped asking themselves what they actually wanted. In the 1970s and 1980s, psychologists studying emotional labor discovered that women in long-term relationships were carrying invisible stress loads that men often did not notice. Planning birthdays, managing emotions, solving family conflicts, maintaining the household rhythm. The body absorbs that pressure for years, even when nobody talks about it. Then the 40s arrive. This is where the quiet shift begins. Hormonal changes affect energy, sleep, patience, and emotional tolerance. Many women entering midlife suddenly realize they are emotionally exhausted, but instead of slowing down, they often increase caregiving responsibilities. Aging parents need help. Adult children still depend on them financially. Husbands begin facing health problems or retirement stress, and something strange starts happening inside the mind. The emotional reward system changes. Researchers connected to studies on aging at Stanford University found that older adults begin prioritizing peace and emotional stability over social approval. Small conflicts feel bigger. Drama becomes intolerable. Emotional chaos becomes physically draining. Women especially begin protecting their time and energy differently after 60. At first, most families misunderstand this change. They think she became cold, but she did not become cold. She became aware of how much of her life was spent managing other people's emotions while neglecting her own health, sleep, happiness, and identity. That realization hits many women after retirement because for the first time in decades, silence enters the house, and silence reveals truths distraction once covered. Now here is where the story becomes uncomfortable. Many older men experience retirement, a loss of identity, because work gave them structure and purpose. But many older women experience retirement as freedom. That difference creates tension inside aging relationships across America. One national survey found that women over 65 initiate gray divorce at much higher rates than they did 30 years ago. Why? Researchers found repeated themes: emotional neglect, unequal labor, lack of appreciation, emotional exhaustion. Women were no longer willing to spend the last decades of life feeling invisible. But there is another layer almost nobody talks about. Health. Chronic stress changes the body over time. Studies from the American Heart Association show long-term emotional stress increases inflammation, sleep disorders, blood pressure problems, and immune dysfunction. Many senior women begin feeling physically better once constant emotional pressure disappears. Better sleep, lower anxiety, more independence, less emotional conflict. That creates a shocking emotional association. Peace starts feeling safer than romance. And millions of women never expected that to happen. The breaking point often comes quietly, not with screaming, not with betrayal. Sometimes it happens during dinner, when she realizes she no longer wants to explain herself anymore. Sometimes it happens after years of being unheard. Sometimes it happens after caregiving drains every remaining ounce of emotional energy. Then suddenly, she stops chasing connection. Not because she hates men, because she finally values herself. And here is where many seniors make a serious mistake. They try to fix emotional emptiness using old advice. Just stay busy, compromise more, don't give up on love. But those solutions often ignore the real issue. The problem is not always loneliness. Sometimes the problem is emotional depletion that lasted 40 years. Many older women discover something unexpected after stepping back from relationships. Their health stabilizes, their finances improve, their routines become calmer, their friendships deepen, their stress decreases. This does not mean relationships are bad. It means unhealthy emotional patterns become impossible to tolerate once people fully understand the value of time. After 70, time becomes real. And that changes everything. A woman who spent 40 years sacrificing peace for companionship may suddenly decide peace matters more. That is not bitterness. That is clarity born from experience. Still, there is a hidden danger in this shift too. Some women isolate completely. They stop trusting everyone. They avoid all emotional vulnerability. Researchers studying aging and longevity warn that healthy solitude improves well-being, but complete emotional isolation increases risks for depression, cognitive decline, and early mortality. That is the twist most people miss. The goal is not shutting people out. The goal is protecting emotional energy while staying connected to meaningful relationships, and the healthiest seniors seem to understand that balance better than anyone else. Look closely at older women who seem calm, energetic, and emotionally strong. Many quietly follow the same patterns. They guard their routines. They say no without guilt. They choose relationships carefully. They stop over-explaining themselves, and they refuse to carry emotional burdens that belong to other adults. That wisdom usually arrives late, because younger years were filled with survival responsibilities. Now think about today. Millions of American women over 60 are living through this emotional awakening right now. Some feel guilty about it. Some feel relieved. Some feel confused because society taught them their value depended on being needed by others. But aging changes priorities, and for many women, the final decades become less about pleasing people and more about protecting peace. So what can seniors do starting today? First, audit your emotional energy. Pay attention to which people leave you drained versus peaceful. Stress is not just emotional, it affects the body, sleep, immune system, and even memory. Second, rebuild identity outside caregiving. Find routines, hobbies, friendships, movement, or creative work that belong only to you. Studies repeatedly show seniors with independent purpose maintain stronger mental health later in life. Third, stop apologizing for boundaries. Healthy aging requires emotional protection. You are not obligated to solve every family problem or carry every emotional burden. And here is the warning researchers keep repeating. Loneliness and peace are not the same thing. Many seniors confuse emotional numbness with healing. If isolation becomes permanent, mental and physical health can slowly decline without obvious signs at first. But there is one more question almost nobody asks. If so many women over 60 are finally choosing peace over emotional exhaustion, what does that reveal about the relationships they survived for decades before that freedom arrived? That question is making psychologists rethink everything we assumed about aging, marriage, and happiness. If this video made you think differently about relationships, aging, and emotional peace, take a moment to like and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And in the comments, tell us this honestly. Do you think older people become wiser about love, or simply more tired of emotional games? Subscribe now, because in the next chapter, we're uncovering the hidden daily habits that quietly predict whether someone will age with peace or regret.